What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, rising, undefeated, welterweight, superstar, title contender, Jaron Boots Ennis. 28 wins, no loss and no draw, 26 wins by way of knockout. He is 24 years of age, 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach. He responds back to two-time welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Showtime Shawn Porter, who is now retired. Shawn Porter finished his career with 31 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 17 wins by way of knockout. Shawn Porter is 34 years of age, 5'6", 5'7", with a 69.5-inch arm reach. With that said, Shawn Porter on the Porterweight podcast, he responded to everybody giving Jaron Boots Ennis a lot of praise and a lot of credit for his skill set and his talent. And Shawn Porter, he feels that Jaron Boots Ennis hasn't proved anything yet. So he stated that to describe Jaron Boots Ennis, he used the word overrated. He said Jaron Boots Ennis is overrated. But oddly enough, Shawn Porter featured right here on Blue Blood Sports TV in an interview he did. And Shawn Porter, he stated that Jaron Boots Ennis is a phenom in the sport of boxing, and he has no interest and will never get in the ring with that young, hungry phenom lion. Okay? That's how he described him. And then in another interview, Shawn Porter, he described Jaron Boots Ennis as Roy Jones Jr., legendary Hall of Fame, iconic superstar boxer Roy Jones Jr., and stated that he believes Jaron Boots Ennis is Roy Jones Jr. 2.0. And then in another interview to describe Jaron Boots Ennis, he says he's too much. He's a handful for these guys. And then Shawn Porter, he stated that, well, Jaron Boots Ennis can right now compete with the best welterweights in the world, who happen to be considered top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, in undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terrence Bud Crawford, who's 38 wins, no losses, no draws, 29 big wins by way of knockout. Terrence Crawford, 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. Terrence Crawford just recently beat Shawn Porter by 10th round stoppage after dropping Shawn Porter twice in the 10th round of their fight. Okay, to be the first one to do it, and Shawn Porter went off into retirement. And also undefeated unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer Earl the True Spence Jr., who is widely considered by many to be top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, with a record of 27 wins, no losses, no draws, 21 big wins by way of knockout. Errol Spence is 31 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. He's going into a highly anticipated unification showdown with Cuban star boxer, who's the WBA World Boxing Association welterweight super champion, Yordenis Ugas, who's 27 wins, no losses, 27 wins, 4 losses, no draws, with 12 wins by way of knockout. He's 35 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 69-inch arm reach himself. That is going to be taking place April 16th in Arlington, Texas, Dallas Cowboys Stadium, AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World. With that said, that's a unification bout. 3 belts will be on the line. But Shawn Porter, he stated in an interview that he believes that Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence would have a tough time and possibly lose to Jaron Boots Ennis when asked, do you think that Jaron Boots Ennis can beat and compete with these guys? And he said, yes, he's ready right now. This was after Jaron Boots Ennis, October 30th, beat Thomas Delorme, former world champion, in first round knockout in dramatic fashion. Okay, so Shawn Porter, he stated that Jaron Boots Ennis is a handful. He's too much for many guys. And the only guys he see competing with him is Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Now, again, keep in mind, Shawn Porter, when he was on my show, he stated that the only way he would fight Jaron Boots Ennis if he absolutely forced to fight Jaron Boots Ennis, okay? He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's a phenom. He is Roy Jones 2.0 is what Shawn Porter and how Shawn Porter described him. But what happened here is this, is that Shawn Porter's good friend and former and rival coming up through the ranking system and former unified welterweight world champion superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman, who made his ring return. Keith Thurman held the WBC and the WBA title simultaneously after his 2017 showdown with 2-division world champion Puerto Rican superstar boxer Danny Swift Garcia. Keith Thurman he lost those belts due to inactivity. That was March of 2017. Keith Thurman, he's fought a total of 3 times in 5 years, had a few hiatuses. 2017 and 2019, Keith Thurman was out the ring, came back for Josito Lopez in January of 2019. He showed vulnerabilities. He dropped Josito Lopez, but he himself was in trouble. Keith Thurman was the much more talented fighter of the two. Then Keith Thurman, he went on July of 2019, fought legendary 8th Division World Champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. And Keith Thurman, he lost to Manny Pacquiao and lost his WBA title. Keith Thurman from 2019 of July to current February 5th, where he made his comeback against former WBA regular junior welterweight world champion Mexican star boxer Mario Barrios. That took place this past Saturday, February 5th, and Keith Thurman got a unanimous decision victory after a 2.5-year layoff. And many people was pointing to that performance of Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios as not that great of a performance, in that, Keith Thurman, showed vulnerabilities, and a guy like Jaron Boots Ennis, who Keith Thurman identified initially saying he wasn't aware who Jaron Boots Ennis was. Then Keith Thurman, he changed his stance, okay? Keith Thurman then stated he knew exactly who Jaron Boots Ennis was, after initially saying he wasn't aware who Jaron Ennis was. When people was asking Keith Thurman, is that a fight you would take? And Keith Thurman, he stated that he wasn't aware who Jaron Boots Ennis was. Then Keith Thurman, he changed his stance and he stated that he knows who Jaron Boots Ennis is. And to describe Jaron Boots Ennis and his skill set and what he sees, he described Jaron Boots Ennis as Floyd Mayweather, Pernell Whitaker, and a little bit of himself is what he sees in Jaron Boots Ennis, okay? He says he sees a lot of Floyd Mayweather, Pernell Whitaker, and himself in Jaron Boots Ennis, okay? And then you had Terrence Crawford. When he was featured on the Porterweight podcast with Shawn Porter, he was asked about a future fight with Jaron Boots Ennis, and he himself acknowledged Jaron Boots Ennis as a phenom in the sport, and he stated that he always knew Jaron Boots Ennis from when they was young, because a lot of people used to point and identify him and tell Terrence Crawford and make Terrence Crawford aware of Jaron Boots Ennis and say, hey, look, this kid reminds me a lot of you. Jaron Boots Ennis is an ability to switch from orthodox to southpaw. He has power, 26 knockouts in 28 fights. Okay, he's 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach. Very athletic. So people used to tell Terrence Crawford to make Terrence Crawford aware of who he was. So Terrence Crawford, he stated that he reminds him a lot of himself. So he was aware, and when asked about fighting him, Terrence Crawford, he kind of went around it. He said that, anything could happen in the sport of boxing. You never know. One punch could change a fight. He never directly said, I'll fight Jaron Boots Ennis, okay? And so Jaron Boots Ennis made it clear, I want to fight Terrence Crawford. I want to fight Errol Spence Jr., okay? After he beat Thomas DeLorme, he said, I'm in the IBF ranking system. I'm number 3. I want to fight Errol Spence Jr. I'm smarter than both of those guys. I'm more athletic. I'm bigger. I'm stronger. I'm younger. I could beat both of those guys. He even had FaceTime going viral with him and Errol Spence Jr., okay? So with that said, Shawn Porter is very aware of who Jaron Boots Ennis is. And when Shawn Porter initially was asked about Jaron Boots Ennis and what he thought about Jaron Boots Ennis and his fight with Thomas DeLorme and how he viewed Jaron Boots Ennis, okay? Shawn Porter, he had interesting take, to describe Jaron Boots Ennis, okay? Ironically enough, Shawn Porter, he identifies Jaron Boots Ennis as being too much. Listen what he had to say.
Thug Thizzle, let's say. What did you think of him last night?
You know what? I'm gonna stay in last night. Last night I saw. What did I say? He had people there. I said, "They said, Shawn, what you think?" I said, "He's too much. He's just too much." When you got somebody who is just so intuitive in the ring, so intelligent in the ring, and then got the speed and the quickness, the agility, the power, clearly, the everything to back it up, it's like he's too much.
Spence, Thurman, Ugas, would he beat them right now?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
tell you what questions are bad, what questions are good. He's ready. He's ready.
He doesn't need that.
He's ready.
He's ready.
So you heard Shawn Porter. He said that he's ready. He's ready for Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, and your Dana Ugas right now. This was just October 30th, okay, when Shawn Porter said that he's ready right now. Okay, just a few months ago, he stated that he's ready right now for Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, and Yordenis Ugas. And today, on the Porterweight podcast, Shawn Porter says he's overrated and hasn't fought anybody, and let him do something before, let him prove that he's somebody before we crown him. But in the same token, in this interview in October, Shawn Porter, he stated that he stated that Thomas Delorme was not washed up. He was still very relevant, and he was a good opponent, and that he was just, Boots was just too much for him. So Jaron Boots Ennis, he responds to Shawn Porter, and he responds to Shawn Porter, calling him out, and he says, wow, now that I'm retired, Shawn Porter, now that he's retired, Shawn Porter says that I'm overrated, but just a few months ago, you said that I was too much and I was a phenom. So then he calls out Shawn Porter and he says, well, why don't you come out of retirement and fight me? Don't sit back. Keep the same energy. Come out of retirement. You was the same one that said you wasn't willing to fight me. So come out of retirement and fight me. Don't sit in retirement and just sit there. Keep the same energy. Come out of retirement and fight me. So Jaron Boots Ennis is calling out Shawn Porter for his statements. Let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Oh, it is your boy Jaden Kiss. Make sure you check out Blue Blood Sports TV. It's going down.